Hello there. In this class we are going to see what are operating systems. Now if you have no idea about operating systems, or if you have a little bit idea about operating system and you need to learn more about operating systems, this video is definitely for you. So now let's try to see what operating systems are. So before giving it any definition, just focus on the name operating system. I can create a definition from the name. This is a software that is used to operate a system, which is a computer system. So my definition is completely correct. So simply, an operating system is just like a driver who is driving a car, or just like a pilot who is flying an aeroplane. So every aeroplane must be controlled by a pilot, every car must be controlled by its driver. So just like that, every computer must have a operating system to be controlled or to be managed. So every computer needs an operating system. So this is the software, this is the operating system, is a software that is controlling every hardware in the computer and all the other softwares also which are inside the computer. So this is one definition of it. Another people define it as this is the interface between a user and hardware. Now by hardware I mean a computer. If you have a computer here and let's say this is the user, there is actually the operating system between us, which is actually providing interface between the user and the computer. Without this operating system, my user won't be able to read or write anything using this computer. He won't be able to use it. So it makes the computer usable to the users. So there are a lot of things that an operating system do, but a few functions of operating system are mentioned here. Now before that, let me tell you that an operating system can either be 32-bit or it can either be 64-bit. Now what do we mean by this? Now if you're familiar with the CPUs are also of two types. They can also be 32-bit or they can also be 64-bit CPUs. Now by this you actually mean that if a CPU's registers have 32-bit size, then we would say that CPU is 32-bit, and if the CPU's register has size of 64-bit, we would say that the CPU is 64-bit. Now in a computer, if there is a 64-bit CPU, there must be a 64-bit operating system, and just like that, if a computer has 32-bit CPU, it must also have a 32-bit operating system. So these operating systems are actually based on the CPUs. If the CPUs are 32-bit, you would also come up with a 32-bit operating system. But there is a backward compatibility. If you have 32-bit operating system, definitely 64-bit can cover up that one too. So this is what I was trying to tell you. Now let's see what are the different functions of operating system. The first function of operating system is to create an interface between a user and computer. There must be an interface between a user and computer so that the user can access the computer very easily. Now the part of operating system that is actually responsible for this task is called shell. This task, which means by which I mean interface between user and computer. Now this shell provides two types of interface between user and computer. The first one is called the CLI, where the user needs to write commands on the keyboard and the computer will only give you back output in the form of text. But we would definitely not like that. So right now our shell is providing us GUI, which is graphical user interface. So we are pretty much familiar with this one. This makes things very clear with the help of menus, with the help of buttons, pointers, and graphical interface, which is too pleasant for our eyes. So the first function of operating system is to create an interface between user and computer. The second function is that interface between application and hardware. Not only the hardware should be communicated with the user, the hardware must be controlled by different softwares, or we can also call them application softwares. Basically, the part of operating system that is actually mostly controlling the hardware is called the kernel. Now the kernel also needs some help, some assist while controlling the hardware. So it needs a device driver. Every device that is connected to the computer, it needs to have a software that is what we call a device driver. Now why do we need a device driver? Device driver is just like a just like a manual which comes with different stuff that we buy, that tells us that how can you use this device. Just like that, this device driver tells the operating system that how can you control this specific device. Let's say if it is a printer, you need to install the printer device driver inside your computer to help your operating system while controlling the printer. Just like that, if you have a modem, you need to install a driver for that too. Just like that, that is what I'm trying to tell you, that you need to have a device driver to control your hardware. So the next function is the system health and the functionality. By functionality, I mean that you need to see that is everything working, if everything is functioning properly. Let's say if your printer is working properly, if the CPU fan is working properly, if the power supply is working properly, the CPU, the operating system also takes care of this. The other thing is the system health, like if there are some external threats to the computer, is your computer infected by viruses and everything like these. So these are the things that also help your computer, that also help your operating system in maintaining these things, fair. So we have antiviruses, we have defender firewalls, we have IDPS, intrusion detection systems, that actually help our operating system while maintaining these things. So another function is the file management. File management is the way the operating system manages all the files in front of the user. You might have known that the hard disk is actually storing everything inside your computer, but you see in a very systematic way all of your files. You have my computer, inside the my computer you have local disks, and then inside them you have different folders. So everything like this, actually the mastermind behind that is the file manager, which is a component of operating system. Apart from that, there are a lot of functions too, but we won't discuss all of them. So let's move on towards the types of operating system. The first type of operating system is the workstation operating system, or we can also call it a desktop operating system, which we normally use in our desktop computers. If you have any computer in our laboratories in computers, we have desktop computers. So the operating systems running on those computers are called workstation computers. Mostly those are Windows, they may be Apple's Mac OS, maybe Linux, Unix, or Google Chrome's OS, or some other workstation OSs too. So apart from that, in mobile phones we also have OS operating systems, which are the most common one is Android operating system, but for the Apple's phones we have iPhone operating system. So simply an operating system that runs on a mobile operating system. Mobile is known as a mobile operating system. A server operating system is an operating system that makes a normal computer a server computer. If you have a computer here which is not a server, but if you install this server operating system on this computer, now I can call it a server computer. So if you don't know about the server is a computer that is actually created to manage the requests of clients. The different clients send requests to the server, ask for data from the server, or ask for any other service from the server, and this server will handle all of these requests. So after that, we have embedded software. If you are familiar with about embedded systems are those systems which are created to perform some specific functions, like ATM, like TVs, like digital cameras, like washing machines, microwaves. Those devices also have operating systems, and those operating systems are what we call embedded operating systems. So this is all about operating systems. Now in the next class we will see other important essential topics about CompTIA or other IT fundamental courses. So this is it from here. If you understood anything from here, don't forget to like this video, don't forget to subscribe our channel, and keep supporting us.